All right, here we are back again on episode 44 of the Sort of Sports podcast. And today I'm going to be doing my official MLB predictions for the season. And yesterday tried doing a little bit of simplified predictions, but I'm not exactly happy with how those turned out. So I decided I was just going to go through, and on April 2nd, I was going to I just changed my predictions a little bit. So these are the new official predictions. I don't know what got into me yesterday. All right, so I think we're going to go through and do every division, and then we're going to hit NBA, then we'll hit NCAA because tonight's Final Four, and then we got some, more media categories. So really, I haven't recorded since the end of February when I did my big NBA breaking down every team thing, and it was because I told my mother, I was like, well, I'm just going to record, when something possesses me to record. And then it felt like a bunch of things I wanted to talk about all came at the same time. It was like MLB predictions, I wanted to talk about NCAA, I wanted to talk about the NBA MVP race, wanted to talk about some movies I've been watching. So I was like, it all hit me at once. And so this would be probably pretty sizable pod because, I got a lot to talk about. I pretty much just wait until I feel like I really have something to say because I don't want to ever make an episode just because. I always want to make one because I feel like I have something to say. I don't want to waste anybody's time here. I'd like to believe that when you listen to the podcast, you don't think I'm wasting your time. That'd be quite a shame. All right, so let's start off with the American League for the division prediction. So in the AL East, I have the Blue Jays finishing first. Now, I know I took that last year, and they vastly disappointed. They didn't even make the playoffs. But, I've seen this happen before where the first time a big team gets together and get all the hype, it doesn't come together, but then the next year it does. Maybe that's what will happen here. So that's what I'm kind of banking on here. Obviously, Big Vlad, Bo Bichette, George Springer. Those are some of your best offensive players. They got a good lineup. I mean, Manoah was in Cy Young voting last year. Lineup. I don't know why I said lineup. I was talking about pitching. They got good starting pitching. Manoah was in Cy Young last year. So they really have everything on paper to be one of the best teams in the MLB. They just got to put it together. Coming in at number 2 in that division is the Rays. I don't know why the Rays are like the big hot cold team this year. Like, I've read some articles that put them, second in the division. Then some articles put them third or fourth. Like, I don't know why there's such a I don't know why people aren't believing in the Rays anymore. Every year they're good. I don't know why you'd ever bet against Tampa. So, I'm going with the Rays to be second in the division. I know the Yankees are kind of the big trendy pick for good reason. I mean, they were the winner of the division last year. I just don't believe Judge is going to have as strong of a season. I think he'll still be a hell of a player, but I do not expect him to have as strong of a season as last year. Last year was his career season, obviously. So, yeah, I don't think they're going to be. I don't think the Yankees will be better than the Rays. That's why I have the Yankees at third. But the thing is with the Rays, I mean, we saw Randy Arozarena show out, absolutely show out at the World Baseball Classic. That was awesome. I mean, I was tweeting out about him and Mexico and how fun that run was, making it to the semifinals. And Randy was the guy. Like, him, Shohei, and Trout were probably like the big three. I mean, Trey Turner also had a really good run, but Randy was, like, the guy. Like, there was an argument that he was the best player other than Shohei at the World Baseball Classic. So that's crazy. Obviously, the Shohei Trout strikeout, that was awesome. Anybody who doesn't think that was cool, you have terrible taste. I'm just saying. Like, that is so cool how Shohei struck out Mike Trout to win the World Baseball Classic. I don't know how anybody would argue otherwise. It was awesome. All right, so, yeah, third I have the Yanks. Also, the Rays. Every year they're good. They always have. They manage to have some good pitching. Kevin Cash always figures out the way to make it work. And Wander Franco is awesome. So, Wander Franco is going to be good. Randy Arozarena is going to be good. They'll probably have somebody else come out of the woodwork. They still got Phillips. I don't understand why people don't think the Rays will make the playoffs. I have them make the playoffs as a wild card team. I don't get it. I mean, this team was in the World Series 3 years ago. So, it'll be at the end of this year. It'll be 3 years ago. Yeah, Shane McClanahan. He's a great pitcher for them. Great. They have Jose Siri now. I don't know if anybody realizes that from the Astros. I mean, he used to be a stud. So, maybe he can put something together there. I don't understand what I'm missing. I mean, Glasnow's still there. Like, what am I missing? Why are people not believing in the... I don't get it. So, yeah. Brett Phillips, heart and soul of the team. Wait a minute. No, he's not there, though. I'm so sorry, guys. Brett Phillips is gone. Maybe that's why people aren't believing. I have called my own bluff here. Yeah, Brett's gone. He's on the Angels. I forgot he got traded last year at the deadline to Baltimore. That's on me. Whoops. Well, now I understand why people aren't taking them as far, because Brett Phillips isn't there. Doesn't change the fact I'm putting them 2. Completely forgot about that deal. All right. 3, Yankees. I do not like the pitching that much here. Obviously, Garrett Cole's a stud, but I'm not a huge Garrett Cole guy anyway. I think everybody on this podcast knows I'm not a big Yankees guy, so that's why I'm 3. 4 is the Orioles. We're going to see a big season from Gunnar Henderson. I think there's a chance they could pop into that 3 spot. I mean, they had a late run last year. That was great. But I think they're still a year out from being a playoff team. I would love to see them make the jump this year, but I think they're still a year out. I mean, they have a chance to be kind of like what the Mariners are doing right now. That could be the Orioles in a couple years. Like this big, fun, young team. That could be the Orioles. It just depends if the organization wants to be that team. And I hope they do. I really do. All right. 5's Red Sox. Red Sox do not have a lot going for them. They traded my favorite Red Sox, and that is my guy Xander Bogaerts to the Padres. So, the Padres just get all the guys I like. I don't know how they do it. I don't know. Apparently, they just think, all right, well, Ryan loves Xander Bogaerts, better go get him. Ryan likes Juan Soto, better go get him. So they made sure that even though Tatis got in trouble for the PEDs, that I still am proud wearing their gear because I love Soto and I love Bogaerts. Love Joe Musgrove, so... If they go get Shohei, oh my gosh, it'd be crazy. I know I'm supposed to be talking about the Red Sox going on the Padres, but I got a little excited. No, Red Sox, just not a lot going for them. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what else to say. There's really not much. It's a rebuilding year. All right, AL Central. This is tough because obviously Guardians are twins. My thing with the Guardians is they're better on paper than they were last year. And last year was a great season. I mean, I think I picked them to be last or fourth. Most people did pick them to be last or fourth in the division. They ended up winning the whole thing. Great run. Francona proved that, he's still one of the best managers in the game. They obviously have great pitching. They got one of the best closers in Emmanuel Clase, if not the best closer. So it's a great team. I honestly think they could have a good year. But I think the Twins are going to be better this year. I think the Twins are going to have a pretty big year. I like what the Twins got going on. I think Carlos Correa is really good there. I just kind of see a big Twins year, and I think it's hard near the Guardians. When you overperform so much last year, I think there's a tendency to fall back. So I think that's what's going to go on. Living in Ohio, though, I listen to a lot of Guardians games. Obviously got the best radio commentator, Tom Hamilton, cooking it up every game. He's the GOAT. And Tom Hamilton, I'll be listening to the Guardians. And I'm a root for them to win the division. I have a soft spot for Cleveland. So, being a big Cavs fan, I have a soft spot for when the Guardians do well. And I'd love to see them win the division, but I think I got to take the Twins here. All right, 3, I have the Detroit Tigers. They went out last offseason, tried to go out and get some guys. You remember they got Javi Baez. It looked like they were going to start doing something, but I don't see anything here. I'm not too intrigued by them. 4 is the White Sox. Oh, my gosh. I've picked them to win the World Series 2 years in a row, 2021 and 2022. Picked them both years. Tim Anderson, Luis Robert, or Robert. I'm never sure how to do it. Jose Abreu, this team. I don't. But no, they disappointed me 2 years in a row. And I'm done. I'm done picking them to win the World Series. And I'm done falling for their tricks. They're going to be 4th in this division. They're not very good. I probably should put them 3rd, but I'm so mad at them. I'm putting them 4th. I have my MLB hat collection. I have yet to buy my White Sox hat because they pissed me off so much by not being good. They literally had everything they needed to be a good, fun, young team, and they blew it. It's so bad, and I'm disappointed in everybody in the White Sox organization because they have great players. And it's truly, in my opinion, organizational and manager, and I don't think it works. and I don't like what the White Sox have going on, and I'm disappointed in them. So that's why they're fourth, because I'm kind of pissed. Fifth, the Royals. I kind of like what the Royals got going on. I like Bobby Witt. I like the fact they went out and got my guy Zach Greinke, one of my favorite pitchers. But I got to be honest, they're not going to be that good. I love the fact they got the powder blues back. I honestly might have to buy one. I don't know if I'll get a shirt or a jersey, but a part of me thinks I need to own a Zach Greinke Royals jersey. Might have to think on that. Am I really going to own a Zach Greinke Royals jersey before I own a Juan Soto Padres jersey? Maybe, which I know is wild, but maybe. I don't know. So, yeah. The Royals, they're not going to be very good, but they're going to look mighty fine not being good. I mean, those powder blues are mwah, mwah. And when they redid their jerseys last year, their stuff looks good. They got good-looking stuff. Maybe Mahomes went in there and said, we got to fix these jerseys up because their stuff looks good now. All right, AL West. Big shocker. I'm going to take the Astros to win division. There's a real trend between the Astros fans on Twitter saying they're going to repeat. It's not going to happen. But I have to admit, they are a very well-oiled machine. I mean, the Astros, I don't like them. You know, I think I've went over on this podcast that when they first won the World Series, I was a big backer. I even bought a hat, has a World Series champions patch on the side. I was super excited. I loved Jose Altuve. I thought George Springer was fun. I liked Greinke. I still like Greinke. I'm glad he left. I just thought they were a fun team. And then, I can't remember if Greinke was with them in 2017, though. I think he was. Like, I'm trying to remember if I started liking Greinke in, like, 2019 when they played the Nats. Because I rooted for the Nats that World Series. But I think I was like, this Greinke guy's cool. And that was when I went and looked back at Greinke's career. And I was like, oh. No, he was at Arizona that year. Yeah, he was in Houston 2019, and they played the Nats. So I became a Greinke guy when they lost the World Series to the Nats. Because that was funny, because in 2019 when they played the Nats, I was like, oh, I used to kind of be an Astros guy, but this Nats team's so much fun, and I like Juan Soto, so I started rooting for them. And my mom's always liked Scherzer, and I like Max Scherzer too. So, and a buddy of mine was we both were big Nats backers, and him and I would call each other during the games and get hyped for the Nats. So then I was like, yeah, I kind of like the Nats more. The Astros used to be fun, but now they're kind of stinky. And then, of course, that offseason you figured out they were cheaters. And then, yeah. Then I was like, oh, well, the only guy I like on this team now is Carlos Correa and Zach Greinke. Because Correa actually owned up to the fact he's a villain, and major props to him. And then he ditched them and went to the Twins. And nobody goes to Minnesota, so good for him. Like, nobody's like, oh, I need to go to the Twins for my career. So that was... Got a fat deal from the Twins. Well, it was a one-year deal. I get that, but I'm saying it's still cool that he bounced to the Twins. Just kind of wild. So, all right. What's his deal now? Sorry, let me check this real quick. What is Carlos Correa's current deal with the Twins? Because he was on that one-year deal, and then he re-signed because... Yeah, he's on the 6-year now because... Remember there was all that where it's like he was going to go to the Giants, and I was like, okay, whatever. And then he was going to go to the Mets, and I was hyped. I was like, yes, please go to the Mets. And then he's back in the Twins. But, you know, I think he can get it together. I think he's really going to vibe well with these Twins for some reason. I think this is going to be a good year for them. I know I already talked about the Twins, but he left last year, right? I'm not bugging. Like, he left the Stros after they went to the World Series and lost to the Braves, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, yeah. So they go to the pennant in 2020, lose to the Rays, which is awesome. And then they go to the World Series, and one of the most boring World Series of my entire life, Braves-Stros. Because that was before the Braves had the only Braves player I like. So, I'll talk about him later. He's going to be the picture for when I talk about the NL. The only Braves player, like, right now I like. Okay, I like Ronald Acuna, but I'm kind of sick of him. I mean, like, I'm not sick of him. He's very good. It's just... I don't know. There's something about Ronald Acuna. It's like, everybody kind of likes him. I had a guy, like, a good friend of mine. He really likes Ronald. Ronald Acuna is a great player. It's just, I don't feel like being another Ronald Acuna guy. It's kind of like how everybody likes Josh Allen. I'm not just going to be another Josh Allen guy. It's just not for me. So that's the way Ronald Acuna is. The Braves really are kind of like the Bills of baseball, a little bit. Not as much now, but they kind of were in like 2021. So, yeah, that's kind of weird. But there is a Braves player I really like. I'll talk about him later. Okay. So, yeah, Stros won the division, obviously. Gosh, they're very good. They are very, very good. I mean they had a rookie win World Series MVP. Like, they just I can't believe they won the World Series last year. It's really upsetting. Okay, moving on. 2's the Mariners. My dog, Julio Rodriguez. My guy. Love Julio Rodriguez. I love the Mariners stuff. I think they got some of the best stuff in the game. That teal pops, that navy blue. Oh, they're gorgeous. They look great. They play great. It's a great, fun team. I love what the Mariners got going on. I'm super glad they made the playoffs last year, and they're going back again. 2 in the division. 3's the Angels. There's a little bit of Angels hype going around that maybe they're going to sneak in at the wild card spot. I cannot lie to myself. I am not going to lie to myself and sit here and lie to you and tell you that the Angels are going to be good this year, because the only reason I'd be saying that is because I love Shohei and I love Mike Trout. And I really shouldn't lie to you just because I love those players. Anybody who likes baseball likes Mike Trout. I don't think there's like anybody who dislikes Mike Trout. Some people would kind of dog on him for getting hurt, but other than that, pretty much everybody agrees that Mike Trout is one of the best players in the game. And to be honest, I think him and Shohei are the 2 best. There's like no argument. It's like it would be like in the NBA if Giannis and Jokic were on the same team. Or if you're an Embiid guy, like Giannis and Embiid. Like, it is insane, this duo. And the fact that the rest of the team does not reflect the talent of them is incredibly upsetting to me. And I know Trout's never going to leave, but I kind of hope Shohei does. Because, gosh, I want Shohei to be in a winning situation. I actually like Shohei better. I love Trout. But Mike Trout is like baseball Jesus. It's like everybody likes Trout. Shohei is like the new kid. So that's why Shohei feels a little more like personal to me, because I was watching baseball when he got big in 2021. And I was like with him as he became a big star. Whereas Trout, like when I started watching baseball, Trout was already the best player. So, I mean, Trout was the best player when I was young. When I was like a little kid, Trout was already the best player. So, I was in like elementary school when Trout started cooking. So, it's a little different for me. It's like he's been there my whole life, whereas Shohei just started. So, that's kind of cool for me. All right, so the Angels, yeah, disappointment. They're not going to do very well. 4 is the Rangers. I would love to see the Rangers be good. I actually really like when the Rangers redesign their uniforms. I know I always end up talking about uniforms, even though it has nothing to do with the way you win games. But, I get excited. The Rangers, remember last offseason, they had the big offseason. They went out and they got, oh my gosh. Why do I do this? I sometimes forget the names like while I'm talking, and I know exactly what I'm talking about. I can even picture him. Who is it? Yep, they got, where is Marcus Semien? There he is. Marcus Semien had an MVP campaign, and then they go out and get him. That was huge. And obviously this year they went out and got Jacob deGrom. Well, everybody on the podcast knows I'm a huge Jacob deGrom guy. Love Jacob deGrom. Think he's great. And I think he's like the best pitcher in the game. So getting him is huge. And I'm kind of upset because as a the Mets are like kind of one of my favorite teams right now. And I like deGrom better than I like Verlander. I think he's better. I think Verlander's amazing. Don't get me wrong. I like Justin Verlander. But I prefer deGrom. deGrom is like one of my favorite pitchers to watch. He's probably in the top 10. Maybe top 5. Sandy's obviously number 1. Sandy Alcantara. Oh my gosh, the best. My favorite pitcher. And then Greinke might be 2. Emmanuel Clase's up there too. Who else would be in my favorite pitchers to watch? I might have to be a topic for another episode. Not this one, but like halfway through the season, I might do awards like that, like favorite pitchers to watch, because Spencer Strider might be up there. I like Spencer Strider. Richard Blyer, he's up there. All right, a lot of Marlins. Gotta love the Marlins. All right, yeah, Rangers. So they obviously go out and get Jacob deGrom. That's huge, but I don't think they're looking to win right now. I think they're going to build again another year, win as many games as you can, but know that you're probably not at the stage to compete. Maybe 2024, 2025, we're talking about the Rangers being contenders. But right now, I think they still got to – they're going to have another big offseason next year, and then we're going to start talking about them next year. Like the 2024 World Series, we'll be looking at them. But, maybe they can get it together and win some games this year and sneak into the playoffs. And it's like, oh, dang, well, you're going to lose in like the DS, but next year you're going to be a pennant to World Series contender. Maybe they can surprise. I'd love for that. I would love for the AL West to be run by the Mariners and Rangers. I mean, I'd love for it to be run by the Angels, but it's not going to happen because they're a mess of a franchise. But Rangers running it would be awesome. Mariners running it would be awesome. So, Athletics. I can't even name you 3 players to the Athletics right now. I don't even think I can name you, like, 1. I know that's sad, but, like, I couldn't care less about them. They're not any good. They're going to be bad. They're going to get a draft pick, and that's that. I'm moving on. All right, time to go over to NL. There's a picture of the one Braves player I really like, Michael Harris II. He's an absolute dog. Love Michael Harris II. No, I didn't really know that much about him last year. All I knew is that he was a rookie year candidate. Saw some clips of him, knew some of his stats were exceptional. But over the offseason, I kind of fell in love with Michael Harris. He's really good, like really good. I really like him. And I'm actually starting to get scared. I think the Braves are kind of the Astros of the NL. They're just a well-oiled machine. And I think that's why I'm so bored by that 2021 World Series. It's just the 2 well-oiled machine teams. Like, neither of them are, like, super sexy. And, you know, Ronald Acuna is, like, the sexy star for the Braves. And he obviously wasn't in that World Series. He was hurt. So it's like they didn't have that factor. So, like, I think they are very similar. Like, obviously, the Braves aren't dirty cheaters and everybody hates them. But they're similar in the aspect of, like, they just routinely have success. And the Braves are an exceptionally well-oiled machine. I mean, if you said, you know, for the next 5 years, you know, there's going to be one team in each league that goes to a World Series twice, I would bet on the Braves and the Astros. Like, who's going to go to the World? I guess a simpler question would be, who's going to go to the World Series the most in the next 5 years? One out of each league. I would say the Braves and the Stros. Just picking how many teams are going to win pennants. They're well-oiled machines. I mean, I would like to say the Padres instead of the Braves, but I got to say the Braves continually pump out new talent from their farm system. I mean, like Michael Harris and Spencer Strider, they had 2 Rookie of the Year candidates last year. That's crazy. So, you know, I mean, that's crazy from a team that just won the World Series the year before that to have 2 guys Rookie of the Year conversation the next year. It's wild. So, and I mean, Freddie Freeman, their best player, I don't think anybody would debate, like, he was their best player in the 2021 World Series. It's like non-pitcher leaves. Next year, they're still in the playoffs. Like, that's... Sorry, I got a little bit of cough. It's been damp lately. They were in the playoffs last year, right? Maybe I might have messed up. Let me look that up. I thought they made the playoffs as a wild card. They were still a darn good team. I just can't remember if they made the playoffs. Yeah, they did. Okay, yeah, because they played the Phillies. That's what I couldn't remember. I think they won the division. Oh my gosh, they won the freaking division. Holy crap, how did I forget that? Yeah, I don't know why I thought the Mets won the division. I'm sorry. Yeah, so they literally lose their best player and then win the division the next year. It's just, I mean, granted, it's a World Series level team, but it's still crazy. Like, it's such a well-run organization. Oh, yeah, I remember this last year's playoffs. It really broke my heart. It was like, that Cleveland Yankees series was really upsetting for me. Phillies were, like, not fun for me, because I was like, you know, this is a fun team I should be rooting for, but the Padres have a chance to make the World Series, so I have to root for that, and the Phillies lost to the Astros anyway. It was really, really upsetting. Okay. Yes, the Braves, well-oiled machine, can take them to the division again because they just continually do it. 2 is the Mets. Mets are going to be a darn good team. Mets are going to be legit. Mets are going to be really good. I think the Mets are probably going to be just as good, if not better than last year. Verlander is a pretty decent consolation prize for losing DeGrom. I'm not going to lie. You just traded out one perennial Cy Young winner for another perennial Cy Young winner. Not winner, but candidate, I guess I should say. Because Verlander has, 3 Cy Youngs now? Right? 2017, 2012, the year he won, the MVP in it. It was at, 2010. It's somewhere early on. And then it was 2017 and now this one. But, obviously, it's uber talented pitching staff. And then, on the lineup side, I mean, you got Frankie Lindor is one of the main players there. But, thing is with the Mets is that I like the talent they have. They got a lot of guys I like. I love Vogelbach. He's great. I like their manager. But I think the Padres are better. Like, I think the Braves are better, too. Like, I think they're the 3 in the NL. Like, they're just definitively, and I don't think, like, I think they're better than the Dodgers. But I don't think there's going to be a year in this, like, we're going to look back on 10 years, and we're going to, even if the Mets, I don't see the Mets really winning the World Series, like, with this team. I think the Padres are always a step ahead of them, and I think the Braves are just so well run that the Mets are just kind of the constant 3. I think it's kind of a shame for the Mets as a pseudo-Mets fan. So 3 is the Phillies. This division is stacked because I wanted to give the Marlins a playoff spot so badly. Like, I wanted to put them 3, get them in the playoffs. But I really should be realistic. Put the Phillies 3. They went out. They got Trey Turner. They're a very talented team. They lost hardly anyone. Bryce Harper could have an MVP level year. I mean, he showed that he's still one of the best players in baseball last playoffs. So, I mean, I really can't fight that. Mets, Phillies, Braves are going to be the top 3. I don't know why I read them in the wrong order. Braves, then Mets, then Phillies. 4 is my Marlins. I love the Marlins. Realistically, my favorite team in baseball probably is the Padres, but the team I have the most diehard fandom for is the Marlins. I used to be kind of a closeted Marlins fan. Now I'm just full-on owning it. I do kind of love the Marlins. I love the retro uniforms. I love Jeff Chisholm Jr. I love Sandy Alcantara. I love the fact we got a new manager. Hopefully he wants to win some games. I really want us to be good. He has such great pitching. We just need to hit the ball. Jeff Chisholm really changes to outfield and then wins Gold Glove. He is that dude, and I love Jazz Chisholm. He's great. So, I think next year we're looking for a playoff spot maybe. It should not be a selling year. We need to buy. I want to be good next year. This is a good team, and we can really have something here. Do not start selling out. That is my prayer to the Marlins. All right. 5's the Nats. Gosh, this franchise. Yeah, it's not a lot of good things going on for the Nats. They're not good. I can barely name you anyone for them right now. They're not good. This is like the Red Sox of the NL. They're in a stacked division, just like the AL East is a stacked division. The NL East is a stacked division, and the Nats are just like, yeah, okay, we're just going to lose. All right, NL Central. Got to take the Cardinals to win here. They were surprisingly really good last year. Like, it's felt like, a couple years ago, you would have told me, who's going to run the NL Central. I'd have been like, oh, the Brewers easily, right? Like, Christian Yelich and all that was going on, and they had Josh Hader. Like, it made sense. But the Cardinals have been the team, and the Cardinals look great last year. I think they're poised to have an even better year this year. Obviously, Paul Goldschmidt was great last year, winning MVP. They got Jordan Walker, this new kid. I picked him to win NL Rookie of the Year when I get into the awards. So, I like what the Cardinals got going on. I really like what they're doing. I think just being a good competitive team is good because it's the MLB. Sometimes you get hot in the playoffs and you win the World Series. Like, right? Like, how many times have we seen that happen? Like, they have, 2019 Nats, like, you can be that type of team that just, we made the playoffs. We're like a 90-win team. We're pretty good. And then, like an 89, like late 80s, early 90s win team. And, then you go on a run in the playoffs and you win the World Series. Like, that type of stuff happens all the time. It literally happened with the Phillies last year. Like, no one picked really the Phillies to be in the World Series, and boom, there they were. So, that's a good spot to be in. That's kind of where the Cardinals are at. I think it's where they'll be again this year. 2's the Brewers. I think they're just perpetually stuck at this point where, they're good, but they're not great. And that's really a shame. I think they're going to start selling and be pretty bad for the next couple of years. That's sad because they were kind of poised to be a really good team there for a bit. And I think they're starting to fall apart. 3's the Cubs. The Cubs are on the upswing. I like what we're doing. I don't know why I say we are the Cubs are my true team, but I do have a soft spot for the Cubs. They're kind of my first favorite MLB team until I decided I really don't have favorite teams for MLB. But maybe they'll come back in being one of my favorite teams. I like getting Cody Bellinger. I think that was a good move. Obviously, the big star is Dansby Swanson coming to town, and that's awesome. I like Dansby Swanson. So, yeah, I think that's fun. So, good for the Cubs. They'll be pretty good this year. Nothing crazy. 4 is the Pirates. Andrew McCutchen going back is the big thing, right? Like, that's really cool for the clubhouse and for the fans, and I love Andrew McCutchen. I'm assuming he's retiring. When I was younger, Andrew McCutchen was my favorite player, and one of my favorite players. I think he was definitively my favorite player. I think. I don't know if it was anybody else, but I think it was Andrew McCutchen, because I owned a shirt of him, and I didn't own a shirt like anybody else. Like, I'm talking about like when I was really young. And Andrew McCutchen was kind of my guy, because we went to a Pittsburgh game, even before I was really in MLB. And I was like, this guy's sweet. So I think McCutchen is was kind of my favorite player when I was younger. I guess it's the best I can remember. So, yeah, I think it's fun that he's back. I like Brian Hayes. I like O'Neal Cruz. They don't have any pitching. But, you know, maybe the Pirates are going to get something going, because they redid those uniforms. They're beautiful. So, it's a great stadium, too. PNC Park, it's great. Right over the river. It's a nice stadium. Might go down to a Pirates game this year. I like going up to Progressive Field, though, in Cleveland. The Reds stadium's fine. It's just my least favorite out of the three. Out of the three, I can hit pretty easily. Reds is my least favorite. Speaking of the Reds, they're the team picking to be last. I like Hunter Green. I think he's going to have a really good year for them. I think he's great. Other than that, there's not a lot going on here. I guess I don't really have a lot to say about the Reds. I'm sorry. I know Quinn's probably not very excited about that. But, I mean, I still got my guy, Joey Votto, the legend himself. Probably just going to retire there. Jonathan India's great. He's fun. But, yeah, not a lot really going on for the Reds. Not a big year coming in. Pretty sad year coming in. All right, NL West. Padres, who I'm taking 1. This is the year that they just flat out win the thing. I mean, they won the division last year. Right? I'm not stupid. They won the division last year. I'm not dumb. I'm like, they won. I don't know why I'm questioning myself. I'm going to check that real quick, because it feels odd for me to say it. But I really thought they won it last year. It's the AL. Where's the NL? Give me the NL. No, they were the wild card. Okay, good thing I checked. Oh, yeah, the Dodgers won 111 games. I forgot. The Dodgers are always doing that crap. They win a ton of games, and they're not that good in the playoffs. It's hilarious. Oh, so the Blue Jays did make playoffs last year. I apologize for my earlier comment. I didn't remember that at all, because they lost in the wild card round. I forgot they made the playoffs. And the Rays snuck in. See, the Rays always sneak in. They're dogs like that. I love the Rays. Yeah, my White Sox made 81 and 81. Disappointment of a lifetime. Gosh. I picked them to win the freaking World Series. All right. So, yeah, Padres is the year they take over the division, start running it, which is exciting, led by my dog, Juan Soto. I am expecting Tatis to come back and be really good. Like, I think there's a chance he can reclaim my heart and going back to being my favorite player. I don't know if he can beat Juan. Juan's pretty great. I do love Julio Rodriguez, but I love Jazz. But I think there's a real chance Tatis can come back and be my favorite player again. Well, he's really going to have to impress me. But Juan is definitively my favorite right now. And Shohei's up there, too. So, those are like my top 5. I think the Padres have so much talent, right? Manny Machado's a potential MVP candidate for this year. Juan Soto's a potential MVP candidate for this year. Tatis could come back and cook and be a potential MVP candidate for this year. Like, they're Bogarts, right? Like, even Bogarts, maybe? It's such a good team. They're incredible. I mean, Manny was awesome last year. Like, lights out. And then they got Juan. Gosh, such a good team. Padres are great. 2 is the Dodgers. Dodgers are starting to slow down, guys, and I'm so happy by that fact. They're starting to slow down a little bit. I mean, they're still one of the best teams in baseball, but they're not getting as much hype as they used to, and I'm glad because I hate the Dodgers, and they're the worst, and I hate it when they're good, and I like it when they're bad. So I'm glad they're getting worse. 3 is the Giants. It's really a darn shame because 2 years ago, they were like so much fun when they were really good, and I love the fact that they got good, and last year was a little bit of disappointment for them. Thought they could be like really good like they were the year before. And then, you know, this offseason could have got Correa, maybe kickstarted again, being good again. And now they're just kind of the Giants. It's kind of a shame. I mean, they were really fun 2 years ago. But I don't think they're going to get back to that magical year they had. 4 is the D-backs. D-backs are improving. Like, I like what they got going on. It's just, they got my guy Ketel Marte. Love Ketel Marte. But I don't think it's a big year. I mean, they're just going to have to improve. I don't think the Diamondbacks are going to have much going on for the next couple of years, but they got great prospects. I mean, I know the one guy, I forget his name. It's like Jordan something. Lawlar, is that what it's called? Right? It was a Vanderbilt kid. He's good. So, I don't know, maybe they could surprise us and go on a run and get the 3 spot in this division. That'd be great. And then next year you're poised to get like a wild card spot. It's a tough division to be in, though. Last is the Rockies. They got my dog, Chris Bryant. And that's really it. Last year they won a couple more games than we thought they should have. I mean, last year the Rockies were a little bit of a fun team to go out and watch sometimes. Go out and watch, yeah. I drove down to Denver. No, I'm saying. Like, they'd be on like a 3 o'clock spot. Sometimes I turn on the Dodgers. Not the Dodgers. The Rockies in the summer. I would never watch the Dodgers for fun. Gosh. Rockies in the summer. They had a couple like ESPN games, so that was kind of fun, but they're not going to be that good this year. All right, time for the MLB playoffs. So the NL wild card. All right, so the 6th best record, I had the Phillies, and the third, like the worst record out of the division winners, I had the Cardinals. So they face off in the wild card, and so do the Mets and the Dodgers, who are the 4 and the 5. So I had the Phillies beating the Cardinals, and then I have the Mets beating the Dodgers. So let's go to the divisional. The 2 best division winners, the Padres and the Braves, the Padres play the Phillies, and the Braves play the Mets. I take the Padres over the Phillies, and I take the Braves over the Mets. The battle of the NL East, the Braves-Mets, tough matchup for me to pick. Got to go with the Braves, though. All right, so pennant, Padres-Braves. I am taking the Padres. I think it's a dangerous pick. I actually think this is kind of a really fun matchup there. Both teams are stellar, and they both got a lot of star players, but I'm going to take the Padres. They're just really good. All right, switching over to the AL before we get to the World Series pick. We have the Twins, the worst division winner, versus the worst wild card maker, the Yankees, and then the 2 better wild card makers, the Mariners and Rays. It's tough here for me to take the Mariners over the Rays, but I'm going to do it. Taking the Mariners, and then I take the Twins over the Yankees. I think that's going to be a big year for the Twins. Divisional series, we have Mariners playing Blue Jays and Twins playing Astros. Blue Jays are my number 1 seed. I think they're going to win the most games out of the AL. Astros are my 2 seed. I have Astros over Twins. I can't lie to myself. This Blue Jays-Mariners matchup is tough. I'm going to take the Mariners. AL pennant's a rematch of the wild card or divisional? I think it was the divisional. The Astros swept the Mariners in the divisional. Last year was a 3-0 sweep. But this time in the pennant, the Mariners get it done. They beat the Stros. So my World Series for 2023 is Padres versus the Mariners. Very exciting for me. A lot of players I like here. Love Julio Rodriguez. Obviously, I love like half the Padres. And I think it's pretty apparent I'm taking the Padres because they're freaking good. And I'm so excited that I finally get to pick a team that's not the White Sox. Thank the Lord. And I'm taking the Padres because if they don't win the World... Sorry. If they won the World Series and I didn't pick them, I'd feel like an idiot because I root for them. And I love this... I love a lot of the guys they have, and I love this team, and I love their gear, so I got to take them. Taking the Padres, poop and pee for the win, brown and yellow for life. Let's go Padres. So, my dogs. All right. That's the World Series pick, Padres over Mariners. All right. Let's move over. Also, I know it's a wild pick putting the Mariners in the World Series. I know it's kind of a shot, but I'm taking it. I also could really see Braves in the World Series. I was like, Braves and Padres are kind of like the 2 teams I think are the best teams this year. All right, let's go over to the awards. AL MVP, I'm taking Correa. I've been talking about how I think he's going to have a big year, and I think he's poised for a 1. He's knows he's going to be in Minnesota for a while now, and he's going to cook it up. NL MVP, taking Juan Soto. I picked him last year, think he can do it this year. You know he's going to win one soon, so I just might as well keep picking him. AL Cy Young. Cy Young's been having trouble picking. I know everybody's taking Jacob deGrom. Why not we see a big year from Zach Greinke? I know he's on a team that's not going to win very many games, but maybe he can win a good amount. I don't know why you use wins as your AL Cy Young stat anyway. You're probably going to look at ERA and FIP and stuff, so I think Greinke could have a big year for him. Kind of like deGrom's been having big years. Not deGrom. Verlander's been having big years, even though he's getting older. I think this would be a Greinke one. NL Cy Young, I obviously picked the Braves to be very good. I think Spencer Strider could snag this, honestly. I think Spencer Strider could have a really big year and use that AL Rookie of the Year campaign last year and use it to his advantage this year. Go out for Cy Young. AL Rookie of the Year, Gunnar Henderson. I know I picked him to be MVP on the last podcast if you listened to that one. But, now my feelings have changed a little bit. I don't think Gunner's going to be MVP, but I do think he could be Rookie of the Year. Really talented player for the Orioles. And I mentioned Jordan Walker earlier for the Cardinals. I'm picking him for NL Rookie of the Year. For AL Manager of the Year, I'm going for Kevin Cash for the Rays. A lot of people aren't believing in my Rays, so I think Kevin Cash would get a lot of credit for taking them to the playoffs. And then NL, Bob Melvin for the Padres. None of the NL teams I picked really surprises, because that's usually the best way to pick like a team that's going to be like the manager is going to win Manager of the Year is when you get a surprise team like Terry Francona did with the Guardians last year. But like Phillies, Mets, Braves, Padres, Cardinals, Dodgers, all 6 of those teams are expected to be good, so I might as well take the team that's going to be the best record-wise, and that's the Padres. There's an argument that you can make the Braves manager, can't remember his name off the top of my head. I could honestly think about picking him, but I'm going to go with the Padres manager, Bob Melvin. Okay, that's pretty much it for the MLB predictions side of the podcast. Now we're going to flip over to the NBA side of things. All right, so in the NBA, right now we're talking about MVP. Last 3 years, not last 3 years, well, this will be the third year of it. So last 2 years before this and this year, the MVP conversation has been Giannis, Embiid, and Jokic. Jokic won in 2021. Jokic won again in 2022. And over this time, I went from being a Jokic hater to a Jokic lover. I love Nikola Jokic. I do think Giannis has an amazing case this year. I mean, 30 points per game on the best team in the league record-wise, because they're probably going to hold that. He's pretty legit. I mean, Giannis has an exceptional case. But Embiid, I can't lie to you, is making a really strong one. Embiid right now is outscoring both Jokic and Giannis. I mean, right now, Embiid is averaging, wait, I want to make sure I get this right, pulling it up. Embiid right now is averaging, it's loading. Oh my gosh. Wow. Okay, 33 points per game. So that's leading the entire league at the moment. So, he's on a team that is the third in the East. I mean, they've won 51 games. Bucks won 55. Jokic and the other one has won 51 games. Thing is, all the extra stats, like your offensive ratings and all that, love Jokic because he's so efficient. He barely misses. He's always making the players around him better. And he's the best passer in the league, period. Not just big man. He's the best passer in the league, period. Okay? Just accept it. He's the best passer in the league. So, I guess what I'm trying to say here is, I'm trying to think of how I phrase this. I think Embiid's going to win it. I think Giannis has an amazing case, but they're not going to go with Giannis because, I mean, he won MVP and Defensive Player of the Year, which has only been done 2 other times. And I'm saying he did that last time he won. And then, obviously the 30 points per game is really impressive, but the fact that Embiid is averaging more, I think gives Embiid has the points per game advantage. And that's a big thing, right? Embiid's the scorer. Like, that's his thing. Is like, I'm on a team that is on paper and not even on paper. Like, I'm on the team I think everybody would agree is the weakest out of the 3 teams. And Harden's been out and Maxi's been out at different points during the season. It's like, I think everybody would agree I have the worst team out of these 3. Because I think even though the Sixers have Harden and Maxey, and I love Shake, and I like the way they built that team, I honestly think the Nuggets are a borderline perfectly built team for Jokic. Like, that team maximizes Jokic perfectly, and he maximizes them. I think that's the most, in tune team. I think the only team that comes close to being that in tune with their star player is the Bucks. And the Bucks are built around Giannis perfectly, too. Like, those 2 teams are built perfectly. I don't know if the Sixers are the perfectly built Embiid team. I'm sure there's better ways to build a team around Embiid. So that's his case. On top of the fact he's scoring tremendously. So I think Jokic is honestly his biggest rival, where I'm averaging a triple-double, and I'm also having one of the most efficient seasons in NBA history. So that's really what you're looking at. Is it the triple-double in efficiency, and they have almost identical records, Or is it I'm on a team that's the weakest, and I am just being the man on this team? And I love Giannis. You guys know he's my favorite athlete in any sport, but I just don't think he's winning this one. Who would I pick? When I do my NBA predictions, I'll tell you, because I think this is tough. I mean, I think we're going to look back on this era and be like, man, we really had it, because these three guys every year were showing out for MVP. And the MVP award feels like important. Like, it really does. It feels like these guys want to win it. That's really cool. Especially Embiid. Like, I feel like he wants it. He really wants it. I think Giannis wants it, but Giannis seems anymore really focused on titles. Like, remember when he won the 2020 MVP, and he said in his interview, he was like, yeah, don't call me MVP until I bring a ring back to Milwaukee. And they did, so he is the MVP. But I'm saying, I think Giannis right now knows for his legacy he needs to win championships, and that's what he's locked in on. Embiid, I think, realizes that he's probably not going to be in the finals this year. I just don't think it's in the cards for the Sixers. I don't think it's a championship-winning team. I really hope I don't just make it happen. I really do not want to see the Sixers team win the championship. I would not enjoy that. But, yeah, I mean, Jokic, obviously, I feel like wants to win it. And I think the thing that hurts Jokic is I don't think the fact that the league finds him to be non-marketable hurts him, because, I mean, he's been back-to-back MVP. So, is he going to three-peat? I think he's got the numbers to do it. Like, I think Jokic, Giannis, and Embiid are all incredibly deserving of this award. I don't think I would be upset if any of these guys won. One of these guys won, I would be proud. But I do think it's starting to go Embiid's way. Like, I'm starting to think Embiid's going to win it, because the Sixers are the 3 seed and not the 4 seed. Like, I was really hoping the Cavs could jump them and be the 4 seeds, and the Cavs don't have to meet. Sorry, the Cavs be the 3 seed, so then the Cavs don't have to. Excuse me. The Cavs don't have to play the Bucks until the conference finals. But I'm starting to get worried that the Cavs are going to play the Bucks in the semifinals, which sucks, because then the Cavs will be out a little earlier than I expected. But it's whatever. That Knicks first-round matchup might be sick, though. Last night, Jalen Brunson. Not last night. Sorry. 2 nights ago, Jalen Brunson and Donovan Mitchell going back and forth. And I saw StatMuse tweeted, yeah, the Knicks got their guy 48 points over Don's 40. And I was like, I liked it. And then I was like, wait, no, you just made fun of Donovan Mitchell. I'm not liking that. And then I unclicked the like. I was like, wait a minute. Caught you. So. Yeah, so that's my thing, I guess. That's what I'm saying, is that Embiid, I think, is going to win it. All right, so Brook Lopez, Defensive Player of the Year. I think that's actually the way it's trending. Like, for Defensive Player of the Year, I mean, I guess there's a case for Jaren Jackson Jr. Not a lot of good Grizzlies. I don't think there's really anybody that feels good about the Grizzlies. I think Grizzlies fans are the only people who like the Grizzlies now. And so, yeah, I don't think he's going to win it. I think it's honestly Brook Lopez, which is awesome. I mean, Brook Lopez has completely changed the way he played. On offense, especially, obviously, as I'm saying. Like, he used to be like this big post technician, and now he's completely changed the fact that he's just like draining threes, and he's a bucket, and he does a lot of face-up stuff. Like, he's gotten great. So, I love what Brook Lopez has done with the Bucks, and I think he really deserves Defensive Player of the Year, because he plays great defense. Like, this Bucks team, everybody buys in, and that's why this Bucks team's so talented. Like, everybody buys in. All right, there's a team I really want to discuss, and it's my absolute boys, the Oklahoma City Thunder. I freaking love this Thunder team. You want to talk about the fun young team? I know some people, like the Grizzlies, what the Grizzlies were supposed to be, like from like a marketability perspective, because like from a record perspective, the Grizzlies are exceptional. They're going to win 50 games this year. They're going to probably go to the conference finals or the semifinals at least. But I, personally, from my perspective, I love this Thunder team. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is my guy. I honestly think he's going to be a top 5, maybe top 3 level player in like a couple years. Like, I honestly think he's going to be one of the best players in the league. Love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he will be better in Ja. I honestly think he's better in Ja right now. I think Shai Gilgeous just balls out. And this is a young team that plays some of the best defense in the league. And they're a clutch team, which you wouldn't expect out of a young team. I mean, king of the fourth quarter, Kenny. One of the NBA YouTube GOATs, one of my favorites. He's up there with Dom 2K for me. Made a great video on his channel, on the Kenny For Real channel, that he's talking about the Thunder, and it's a great video if you want to hear more him talk about the Thunder. He knows what he's talking about more than I do. Congrats to him, by the way. He was just on First Take, so it was really cool to see Kenny on First Take. But I love Kenny, and he made a really good video, just him talking about the Thunder and why he's really proud of this team and how they're really good. And I really liked that video, and he did a good job. And I'm kind of reiterating some of the points he made because, like, I agreed with a lot of things he said. I'm talking about my guy Lou Dort, plays great defense. Jalen Williams, like, legit could be Rookie of the Year. I mean, it's going to go to Paulo because Paulo's that guy, and I love Paulo. I had a friend of mine when Paulo got drafted. I was like, I think Paulo's going to be like the best guy in this class. And he was like, well, I don't think Paulo will be that good in the league. I was like, are you blind? He was going to fit in the league perfectly, and he does. He's awesome. Paulo's great. I know everybody likes to put up the fact that he like can't shoot threes, but he's also like putting up 30-point games randomly. Like, it doesn't. He's a rookie. He's going to develop, and on top of that, he's really good. Like, not every rookie is Luka. Luka is like one of the most special Rookie of the Years we've ever seen. They're not always like perfectly developed and instant stars like Luka. Like, Paulo is great, and he's going to be an MVP level talent, and that's awesome. So, it's great for the Magic. Paulo's sweet, and I love Paulo, and I'm really glad he's doing well. But the Thunder are my dogs. Jalen Williams is great, clutch. This team's awesome. They just play. When they get Chet next year, they're going to be scary. Also, Chet might play in the playoffs for them. Like, if they... Okay, so they're going to be a play-in team. I think they're going to win the play-in. Like, they're going to be the 7th seed. Legit. And they're going to play the Grizzlies. That would be awesome. Because I think they could beat the Grizzlies. I might take them to beat the Grizzlies. Like, if they make the 7th seed. I'm dead serious. I'm not fooling around here. I would legit pick them to beat the Grizzlies. That is my honest take. Because the defense is lights out. They're clutch. They would get in the Grizzlies' head. The Grizzlies are soft. And Dylan Brooks is going to try to talk all this smack to Jalen Williams. And Jalen Williams, he's not going to talk any smack back. He's just going to let his game speak for him and his Instagram caption talk after. That's why this team, Josh Giddey, Lou Dort, Shai Gilgeous, Jalen Williams, when Chet's back, he's going to be an amazing rim protector for them. He's going to take up the defensive player role, and I think he'll thrive, and I'm really excited for the future for the Thunder. I know I've dogged on them in the past for not trying to win games and just kind of being okay with tanking. This year, they're like, no, we're going out to win games, and I've fallen in love with them, and I'm really happy, and I love Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and I love what the Thunder got going on, and they are my young, fun team that aren't named Cleveland, because Cleveland are the king of the young, fun team. I love Cleveland and the Cavs, and I think we could have made the Eastern Conference Finals this year if it wasn't for the fact we're going to play the Bucks in the semifinals. But I think we could have been better. I think we could have beat the Celtics, like dead serious. Serious. We are not a fun matchup for the playoffs. All right, I feel contractually obligated to talk about the Kings because I've avoided talking about them all year. Major props. I mean, great coaching. He's going to be Coach of the Year. Mike Brown's going to be Coach of the Year. I mean, leaves the Warriors organization, goes to the Kings in 1 year, completely turns them around. The whole light the beam thing's great. They're a super fun team. I love the stuff. I love the love the Kings get on Twitter. It's great. Me and my friend Aiden, we like talking about the Kings. Both got a soft spot for them. It's really fun to see a franchise that's always been this bad just, boom, 1 year turn it around. I really hope they make the second round. I don't think they're going to lose in the first round. They're going to play the Warriors, most likely, or the Clippers. That would be a tough matchup. But regardless, I would like to see them make the second round at least. I don't think a Western Conference Finals berth is going to be in the cards. But it's just the fact they made the playoffs, and they've been really competitive, and I'm really proud of the team, and they're going to improve this offseason, and they're just a well-run team. Like, they're not the level of, like, the Bucks or the Nuggets or the Celtics, even though I'm not a big Celtics guy. But they're not on those levels. But they're really good. And I give the Kings a lot of credit. It's hard to turn around a franchise like that. So I'm really proud of everybody involved at the Kings organization. And Mike Brown is easily going to be Coach of the Year. Easily. Also, quick aside, do we realize the way that division lines up, like the division the Lakers are in, it currently is Kings, Suns, Clippers, Lakers. Kings, Suns, Clippers, Warriors, Lakers. That's that division. That is hilarious that the Kings and the Suns are the top two teams, and then it's Clippers in the middle, Warriors, Lakers. Because if I told you that 5 years ago, that that's the way the division lines up, your mind would have been blown. That's wild. All right. That is pretty much all I had to say on the NBA. I think we're going to move into... Oh, yeah, I actually wrote down what this next topic is. This is pretty exciting. All right. So I haven't read like a fictional book in like 5 years that wasn't for school. And oh wait, sorry. Before we get to books, I got to talk about the NCAA. In my main bracket that was with my family, I picked my dogs from Kansas State to win, which looked like an excellent pick. They were cooking up Keontae Johnson, Marquise Noel. They were great, and then we lost to Florida Atlantic, and it broke my heart. And I love Marquise Noel, and I love that Kansas State team, and they're my dogs, and they're my favorite team from March Madness this year. I'm really proud of everything they did. I'm gonna break kayfabe here, wrestling term. This is actually being recorded on April 1st. I recorded my first April 1st episode, the one that's gonna go out on April 1st, earlier. Then I had a sudden change of heart for some reason. I don't know why. And decided to re-record the MLB predictions. And so actually the Final Four is tonight. I know I made that reference to the Cavs game and tried to act like I was recording this on April 2nd. I don't know why I tried to lie to you viewers. The Cavs game was last night with Brunson and Donovan Mitchell. So I'm breaking kayfabe here. This is actually being recorded like directly after the April 1st episode. So this is going to go out on April 2nd. But tonight is the Final Four. San Diego State's going to play Florida Atlantic. Miami is going to play UConn. UConn has been lights out this tournament. Not going to lie. They look great. I took Arkansas to win that part of the bracket. I'm really disappointed. My Final Four was Houston, Arkansas, Alabama, Kansas State, with the national title being Kansas State over Houston. At the time, I didn't even know who Marquise Noel was. I just thought, I read about Kansas State, so I thought they sounded like a fun team, and then I started watching. I watched every game they played, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love this team, and I love Marquise Noel. And I really hope he gets drafted. I DM'd him on Twitter. I said, thanks for balling out for me, bro. You were great, and told him he was a legend. And he didn't respond to my DM, which isn't really surprising. Neither did Lamar Jackson when I DM'd him. So they probably find it annoying. I don't blame him. I guarantee people do that all the time to him. All right. If he ever does see it and laughs, though, that's pretty funny. I do think San Diego State's going to... I don't think either of the Florida teams are going to win. I would like to reference the fact that this has been one of the best March Madness tournaments, I think, ever. It's been one of the craziest. This is the first time since 1970 that 3 teams in the Final Four have never been to the Final Four before, which is awesome. Obviously, every year that happens, every year Final Four happens, it's less likely that there's going to be 3 teams that have never been there before because it's just the law. You know what I mean? More teams that go into it every year, the less teams there are to not be in it before. But I think it's been a great tournament. I said on the first day, I was like, I think we're in store for one of the craziest tournaments ever because it just felt like there's not really a lot of dominance right now in college basketball, and that's exactly what the tournament reflected, and I love that. I love the fact that it was super competitive. I'm upset the fact Kansas State isn't one of the Final Four teams, but the fact that Florida Atlantic has never been that far is cool. No one expected Miami to be here. UConn was kind of a really, really dark horse pick to be in the Final Four, so it's cool that they're there. San Diego State, some people, me included, picked them to be out in the first round, so I think UConn is a pretty popular pick to be kicked out of the first round too. So it's really cool that this is the way the Final Four lined up. I love the parity in college basketball. I think some of it, obviously, is due to the NIL. I read something. I think pretty much like guys seem to be just going where they want to instead of what's the premier program. Like a guy's like, well, I can go here and I can get NIL money, and I don't need to really worry about making sure I go to an ACC, like a Virginia or a Duke or a North Carolina. Like I can just go wherever I want, and my talent will be found. And I'll be rewarded for my talent because even if I go to Kansas State, I'm going to get NIL money for being the best player at Kansas State, and I'll get more money there than I would be being the 3rd or 4th best player at Duke. So there's more spread of talent instead of just remember Duke in 2019 were just stacked. Like it was like Cam Reddish, RJ Barrett, and Zion could all be stars of their own team. They're all on the same team. Even Trey Jones is on that team. He could be a star of if he was at Wichita State, they would be a fun little 10 seed of Trey Jones that year. But there's less of those like crazy stacked teams, and a lot more parity and a lot more excitement, and it leads to better tournaments. I mean, Princeton was super fun and they went far. Transfer portal obviously leads to a lot more competitiveness in college basketball, and I think it just makes college basketball better. Part of what's going on, too, is that your two best NBA prospects, the absolute scary menace that is Scoot Henderson. He looks like a linebacker. He's scary now. Scoot Henderson is crazy. So, yeah, and then, of course, Victor Wembanyama. Both those guys, neither of them are in college basketball, so I think that makes it more interesting, too. There's not the two, like, big prospects aren't in college basketball, so we're watching Brandon Miller like, yeah, you're good, but, it's not like when Zion was in college, and it was just like, oh, this is a man amongst boys. So that's cool. I really like the way this tournament shaped out. I think the tournament's going to continue to get crazier and crazier. I think with the way college basketball is going, more guys are going to choose to go overseas or to do G League Ignite, and it'll continue to be this way where, it's really competitive, and it's even more madness, and I don't think it's going to change. This still might go down as one of the craziest tournaments ever, but I think the tournament will continue to be like this. It's not going to be like it used to be, where your Final Fours were like a 1, a 3, a 5, maybe like an 8. Like right now, it's like a 9, a 5, a 5, and I think the UConn's a 3. Like that's the way it lined up. So it was really weird. Like I think it's going to continue to be weird and get weirder and weirder, and I really like that. So my predictions. Tonight, I'm taking San Diego State and UConn, and then the national title, I'm taking San Diego State over UConn. I don't think either of the Florida teams are winning. I think they both had great runs, but I think San Diego State plays the best defense in the entire nation, and I think UConn has the best paint offense in the entire nation. So, what goes down in the national title for me? I think I probably should pick UConn, but I just kind of got a gut feeling about San Diego State, so I'm taking them. That's really, I'm not going to lie to you. I think UConn probably is going to win the national title. That's like, if I really had to pick, I probably would bet on them. But I feel like the special feeling about San Diego State. But granted, last time I felt that way, it was Texas Tech, Virginia, and Virginia won. So, when I picked the team that was better on defense, that's what happened last time. So, not going to lie. Maybe I'm a bit of a dangerous pick, but that's what I'm taking. San Diego State over UConn for the March Madness. But granted, if I get the Final Four wrong and, Florida Atlantic wins tonight, it's Florida Atlantic, UConn, I'm just completely wrong. So my Final Four picks are San Diego State to win, UConn to win, and then San Diego State over UConn. All right, let's move into what I was going to talk about earlier. So I read a book, and I really liked it, and it was The Gunslinger by Stephen King. I've never read any Stephen King because I don't really like horror stuff. Like movies, games, books, none of it. And I really enjoyed it, and I know it's going to get on later and be like a multiverse Stephen King stuff. And that's cool. Like, I read, I can read it even without knowing all that, so it works. And I read The Gunslinger, and now I'm reading The Drawing of the Three, and I'm really enjoying it. And I loaned The Gunslinger to a friend of mine. And so the thing is, The Gunslinger I really liked is, it's got, this epic feel to it, and I think it's really cool. I really like... It's like reading Lord of the Rings, but it's cowboys. And anybody who knows me and anybody who listens to this podcast know I love Westerns, and I love cowboy stuff. I mean, Django Unchained was the best movie of 2022. I started to feel differently about putting Splash as, I think, I don't know what got into me when I was really talking up Splash. I don't know what went on. I don't know why I randomly felt like Splash was great, but I already had said, once the sort of sporties are set, you can't change them. So it's a good thing I made that rule years ago to stop myself, because for some reason... On yesterday's pod, we're back to acting like yesterday's pod was recorded a different day. I don't know what got into me taking Splash. It was wild, wasn't it? But, yeah, Gunslinger is exceptional. I think it's really... He manages to craft, I don't really understand the world of the Dark Tower that much yet, but I'm still incredibly interested, which is really hard to do when, because some people read things or watch movies, and it's like, if you don't understand it, you feel like you can't embrace it. And yet I feel like I'm really intrigued in the story and the characters, even though I don't fully understand really what's going on. And that's impressive. So, I mean, I know Stephen King's considered one of the best writers, so it doesn't really surprise me he can do that. About the whole box set of the books, the Dark Tower books, all 8, because the one prequel he wrote. And I'm going to read all those, and I'll give you feedback on every single one. But so far, I read The Gunslinger. I'm in the middle of Drawing of 3. I really like it. I think Drawing of 3 is already on its way to be even better than The Gunslinger, and I love The Gunslinger. I thought The Gunslinger was exceptional. So it's got a faster pace. I didn't know I wanted that because I enjoyed the slow pace of Gunslinger, but we're getting more into the meat and potatoes of the story, so I get why it's speeding up. The other two books I bought, because I went to the bookstore, and I ordered the box set, and then I went to the bookstore, and I ended up getting Elmore Leonard, some short stories about Fire in the Hole, and it was a 9 short story. Each one's like 10 to 15 pages. And he writes crime, and I never heard of this guy before, but like his stories have been adapted into the show Justified with Timothy Olyphant that I thought about watching before, so I'm like, oh, this guy sounds great. And obviously one of his, I think it was called like Rum Punch, is what it was called, that becomes Jackie Brown, which when I do my big Tarantino run this summer, I'm kind of planning on watching all the Tarantino movies like around May or June, and then I'll do my big ranking podcast where I rank all the Tarantino movies. That's what Jackie Brown is based off of. And Tarantino loves Elmore Leonard. He bought one of his books rights to adapt for his last movie. And then he decided, he's like, well, my last movie should be something original. Speaking of movies with Tarantino, I got to address the fact that he announced his last movie, The Movie Critic. I cannot be more excited. I'm going to go see it in theaters the night it comes out. I'll probably go see it like 3 or 4 times in theaters. It's the only chance I'm ever going to get to see Tarantino in theaters because I didn't become a Tarantino fan until after Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, you know, it's a real shame, his last one. I really hope he decides that he can't not put something out there in the world. He starts either writing TV shows or writing novels. Because now that I'm back into reading, I'm ready, Quentin. Start writing some books. I will read those. I'm back into reading books. Whatever you write, I will read. I bought his book, Cinema Speculation. I've been really enjoying that. There's some great stuff in that. It's nonfiction. Give me some fiction books. Write me some cool stories. I know he's got some good stuff. So hopefully Quentin does something, because I'm going to be really upset if Movie Critics truly his last film. Can't wait to hear about who he casts, right? Samuel L. Jackson has to be in it, right? It's about a woman. Maybe is he gonna do Uma Thurman? Is he gonna get Margot Robbie again? I don't know. Other 2 books I bought The Stand, because even though I don't have a lot of interest in a lot of other Stephen King's work, I am interested in The Stand. And maybe I'll even watch like the Gary Sinise TV show. Heard that one's pretty good. After I read the book, of course. But I'm thinking I'm gonna read All the Dark Towers and then The Stand. Because The Stand is like, my mother's an English teacher, and she says it's like his best work. So, very intrigued to read that. And then, I'm standing there in the bookstore, and there's the 15-book series, The Wheel of Time, because the 14 and then the prequel. And for those of you who don't know, it was written by a guy named Robert Jordan, because pretty much him and Stephen King both read Lord of the Rings when they were younger. I'm like, yeah, this bangs. I want to write my own version of this. And Stephen King ended up wanting to go a different direction, so he's like, well, if I write my own version, he needs to have like a different vibe. So he went with the like Western American vibe and like did Westerns, did that. Robert Jordan was like, I'm gonna do my own version of Lord of the Rings, but like it's truly just like a newer version. So he did like knights and castles and all that, made his own world. And it's called The Wheel of Time. The first book is The Eye of the World. And he ends up writing them. I think he dies around like book 11 or 12. And then a big fan and writer, Brandon Sanderson, takes over, finishes the series. Now he's writing a bunch of his own fantasy books, which I don't have really any interest in his stuff. I mean, I've heard it's pretty good, but I don't really have any interest in reading his series. I am intrigued by this Wheel of Time series. It's considered to be really good. And part of the reason I'm really interested is because I was at the bookstore with my girlfriend, and G was like, Ryan, there's no shot you have the focus like to read a 14 book. I was like, 15, the prequel. It's like, there's no way you can read all those. She's like, you just started reading fictional books again. You're going to do that? And I'm like, you know what? What would be more on brand than for me to do that? So just because she challenged me, I'm pretty intrigued. I hope I really like Eye of the World and I get caught up in the story. Because I think I'm going to read all the Dark Tower, The Stand, and then boom, all the Wheel of Time. 15 books. Which, as she said to me, will probably take me probably about a year, if not a year and a half. Like, that'll be the only thing I'll be able to read for, like, because it's 15. And all the books are, like, 800-plus pages. Like, it's wild. So. All right, time for movies. I watched Forrest Gump. I've never seen it in my life. I had no interest in it, really, ever. And then the other day I was on CMT, and I just caught the part where he was running across America. And I was like, oh, yeah. People dog on this movie because it beat Pulp Fiction and Shawshank at the Oscars, and obviously those movies age like wine, and so people get kind of pissed. Because I understand why people don't like it as much anymore. Like Bill Simmons was talking about it on the Rewatchables podcast for it. It's kind of a corny movie. Like, it's very on the nose. It's not trying to be edgy at all. It is very, pour your milk and drink your Wheaties and have a big smile on your face. Like, it is very pour your milk and drink your Wheaties. Is that what I just said? Eat your Wheaties. It's very like rural America, big smiles. We're legit happy. There's no underlying darkness to the movie. It's just like this guy from Alabama. Actually, I wouldn't say rural America, just America in general. It's just happy America, like proud to be an American film, accepting both the goods and the bads of American life. And it's very on the nose. Like, it's a fable about this man who's in love and about how he's dumb, but he's exceptionally positive, and how that leads him to have a extraordinary life, even though he's a simple man. And it really worked for me. I actually thought I wouldn't like it, because that's why I never watched it. I remember my sister watched it, and she watches some stuff that I think is kind of crap. And I was like, yeah, that sounds corny. I'm going to go over and watch Pulp Fiction. Like, I even did that. And I'm like, dang, I watched it, and I was like, this kind of bangs. It's kind of right up my style. I don't know. Is it going to be my movie of the year? I should probably update everybody on my movie of the year. What I just said there, I know I did my high-pitched voice thing. I said, is that going to be my movie of the year? I'm on current pace right now. I have watched enough movies that this year alone, within the first 3 months, we're just now starting April, that I might, by the end of April, I'll probably have watched more movies this year than I have all of last year, which is kind of incredible work from me. Realistically, I watch movies more and play video games less. That's kind of what goes on. Like, my video games on Steam, I have a lot of games I haven't played yet because I read and I watch movies now instead of playing video games as much. I mean, I still play some video games, but like it used to be, in the evening I played video game for like 2 hours, then I go to bed. Well, now I read or I watch a movie. So, it's just kind of the way things have went. I mean, I still do play some video games, but now it's more like Mario Party with my friends, or my family, or my girlfriend. Like, I play games with people, and like me just sitting down and playing Last of Us for 2.5 hours. Now I just watch a movie. So that's kind of what goes on. All right, so in March, really some of the movies I thought were the best. RRR. I think RRR might be my favorite movie of the year. Creed 1, Creed 3 are up there. I went on a bit of a Schwarzenegger run because I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. Watched True Lies. Dusk Till Dawn is not Schwarzenegger. That was just... I wanted to watch that because Tarantino wrote it, obviously. Which I liked George Clooney's performance in Dusk Till Dawn. I thought he was great. And that's like a character Clooney doesn't do really anything else like in his career. And so I really liked him in that. He was great. He really made the movie for me, George Clooney. He was great in that. True Lies, Kindergarten Cop, and Total Recall. I loved Total Recall. Total Recall was great. Then I watched Escape from New York, Kurt Russell. Didn't work for me as much as I thought it would. I like The Thing by John Carpenter. I've actually never watched the whole thing. I've just seen like the second half on TV. Probably should rewatch The Thing sometime. But thought it would really work for me. I was just like, it's kind of all right. Love Total Recall. Probably, I think RRR, if I had to guess right now what I picked to be my movie of the year, it's probably like RRR, 21 Bridges, Mr. Mom, Marriage Story, and then probably Creed 1, Creed 3, and Forrest Gump. Those are probably like the best movies I've watched all year. So, Total Recall. I get top 3 right now, probably. Is Total Recall in the top 3? No, it's probably 21 Bridges, RRR, Marriage Story, Forrest Gump, and Creed 1 and Creed 3 are all right there. It's tough. I really liked Hustle when I watched that. I'm saying that was great. I really like True Lies, too. I feel like if I rewatch True Lies, it might make the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm serious. I really like True Lies. I love Schwarzenegger. He is genuinely probably become, in the last, like, ever since I watched Terminator, I was like, yeah, I like Schwarzenegger. And then, like, this month, I was just like, I watched True Lies. I taped it. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to watch Kindergarten Cop. And then I did. And then I watched Total Recall, and I did. And I was like, okay, is he one of my favorite actors of all time? Because, like, he knows he's not Paul Newman. Like, he knows he's not going to give some Oscar-winning performance. But he can do... I think he's, like, the best action star. Like, honestly, I think he's the action star. I think he outdoes Stallone. Because he can have a moment where he's really serious, and he can have a moment where he's hilarious, and he knows it. And he's in on the joke. Like, Stallone, sometimes you're laughing at him, and he doesn't realize that he's being really odd. So, like, just kind of, like, over the top. So, yeah, he's really... Schwarzenegger is, like, probably my favorite actors. Like, he's up there, like, with Samuel L. Jackson as, like, some of my favorite actors of all time. Up there with Chadwick Boseman, Samuel L. Jackson. That might be my top 3. It might be. I'm trying to think. I don't know. I've never been a big Tom Hanks guy. Hardly watch any of his movies. I probably should watch Philadelphia. I probably really like Philadelphia. But, like, legitimately, Splash is one of his only movies I've seen, other than, like, the Toy Stories. Like, that is not a joke. Like, legit, Splash is one of his only movies I've ever seen. And my grandma, big Tom Hanks fan. And a lot of the VHSs I have in my basement are from her. She gave me, like, a bunch of VHSs. Like, hey, I don't want these. You can. And that was when I hooked up my VHS player in the basement. And I have all these VHSs. And they're almost all from her house. Because she was like, I don't really want these anymore. So it's like, I got Big. I got Forrest Gump. I have Splash. I'm trying to think, is there any other Tom Hanks movies over there? I thought there was another one. No, I don't have Castaway. I couldn't remember I had Castaway. My mom really liked Castaway. I've never watched Castaway. Never watched Saving Private Ryan. Never watched Green Mile. Oh, Apollo 13, that's the other one. And then I never watched Apollo 13. Like, all of his big movies, I've never watched. Never watched Bridge of Spies, one of his newer, bigger ones. And, like, it's funny, because when I was younger, my favorite director was Steven Spielberg. Because to me, when you're 12 years old and you think you like movies, Steven Spielberg is the thing for you. Because almost all his movies you can watch, because he's never made anything, like, crazy dark. And a lot of his stuff have that, like, childlike wonder to them. And even, like, when you're 12, Jaws is dope. Like, Jaws is sick. Jaws is still sick now. But I'm saying, like, when you're younger, like, Jaws is sweet. I don't think I actually ever finished Jaws either. Like, my mom and my sister would watch it, and I would just watch it for a bit, and I'm like, yeah, this is good. And then, I don't know why I never finished watching it, but I haven't actually watched Jaws all the way through in my life. I might have to do that tonight. Regardless, no, Final Four is tonight. I'll have to do that. I'm on spring break right now, so I'm going to have to watch Jaws some night. But, yeah, Steven Spielberg is, like, the thing. When you're, like, when I was, like, 12 years old, that was, like, the perfect favorite director for, like, a 12-year-old. But now that I got like around 15, 16, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. Christopher Nolan's my guy. I love Nolan, which makes sense, right? Like the complicated plots, you know, the cool way he can use the camera, the way he uses time jump. You know, it can sometimes be a little too much, but to me, I liked it. And then, obviously in the last year, Tarantino has become my favorite director. But those are probably my top 3. I need to go into Spielberg run and watch all his stuff. But the thing that kind of pisses me off about Spielberg is, after Minority Report, other than Bridge of Spies, I mean, kind of Lincoln. I started Lincoln one time and I didn't finish it. I was not that intrigued. Other than that, I'm not that interested. Because, like, Bridge of Spies is, like, the only one I really care about out of anything he's put out in the last 20 years. It's like Minority Report and Bridge of Spies. Because, like, post Catch Me If You Can and, like, Minority Report, like, his last 2 greats. I guess War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise is kind of fun. But, like, Minority Report was his last, like, oh, this is a film. Like, this is a film. Steven, you're cooking over here. So, oh, yeah, we're actually right at the point. I put Forrest Gump in the background when I started recording, and right now I'm at the part where he's running across America. It is a very easy movie to have on in the background and just look over at. Like, it is up there with Pulp Fiction for me. It's just a movie I can look over at. Shawshank, same way. Those 3 movies from that year, I love every single one of those movies. And I didn't think Forrest Gump would work for me as much as it did. I ran cross country. Like, I've run cross country. I retired. It's my last year. I'm retired from running cross country. But in high school, I ran cross country. And you hear so many people yell, run, Forrest, run. It's so annoying. So, like, I had no interest in really watching this movie. And then when I caught the part where he was running across America on CMT, I'm kind of like, I never watched that. Maybe I should. So I did, and I actually really liked it. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would. So then I started watching The Green Mile, and I got about a half hour into it, and I really like it too. So I guess I'm kind of on a Tom Hanks run at the moment. I was on a Schwarzenegger run, and I'm still kind of on it, because, like, really all I have left is, like, Commando, Predator, Last Action Hero, Eraser, the one where he's fighting the devil, and Conan. I'm not watching Conan 2. I'm only watching Conan the Barbarian. I think it's really it, right? I don't think I'm forgetting anything. I don't. Oh, Running Man. I gotta watch Running Man. I don't know if I'll watch. Is it like Full Heat or something like that? It's the one he made right before Running Man. He's made like an action. It was just a pretty straightforward action movie. I don't know if I'll watch that one, but yeah. So I guess I'm kind of on a Tom Hanks run. Maybe I'll have to watch Philadelphia too while I'm at it. Castaway. I'll have to hit Castaway. I love Turner and Hooch. Yeah, I now realized. Okay, so before Forrest Gump, the only Tom Hanks movie that I watched were Splash and Turner and Hooch. That's it. Sorry about that. I got a little bit of cold going on. But yeah, that's funny that out of all the Tom Hanks movies I watched, it was those two. But yeah, I'm kind of half interested now in watching The Green Mile. I've been really enjoying it. It's obviously a very different performance of Forrest Gump. I know it's not like really it's not really a cool thing to say that I really like Forrest Gump anymore. Like, it's kind of become like a movie seen as kind of hokey, but even my own mom feels that way. But I really like it, and I think the Lieutenant Dan character is great. He's like probably my favorite character in the whole movie. He's awesome, and I think Gary Sinise gives a great performance as him. I think Forrest probably is legit my favorite character because it's kind of the whole point of the movie, ain't it? But I know it's kind of goofy, but it really works for me. I didn't think I liked it as much as I did, but I really liked it. Like, a lot more than I thought I would. I thought I'd watch it and just be like, okay, whatever. And then I was like, oh, this is great. I mean, there's something really to be said when you watch a movie and it's fine, right? Like, I watched A Knight's Tale, and I was like, yeah, it's fine. I really wanted to love it, but it was just fine, and that's okay. It's how I felt about Licorice Pizza. Oh, Interstellar might be one of the best movies I watched all year. I forgot about Interstellar. How could I forget? Interstellar's great. But yeah, I want to watch The Green Mile. Probably finish it tonight or tomorrow. And I guess I'll have to talk about that. But yeah, this is honestly a real contender for best movie of the year. Like, I really liked Forrest Gump. I know it's kind of a hot take anymore, which is weird, but it's the truth. I really liked it. All right, is there anything else I have to talk about? Let me go to the episode. Sorry, I got off the list of topics I wrote down. Look back. I wrote down, did I watch Forrest Gump yet? Talk accordingly. Oh, yeah, why I didn't go to Shazam 2 or Ant-Man and the Quantumania. I have, like, no interest in going to Ant-Man 3 or Shazam 2. I'm going to be honest. And I really like Shazam 1. But to me, I'm like, yeah, I'll just wait for it to be on HBO. Like, I'm not dying to see it. Like, I'm more excited for the Dungeons and Dragons movie. Like, I might have to go see that. I might go see that, like, 2 or 3 weeks after. Like, it came out last week. I might go see it, like, like when it's showing, even though it's been out for a couple weeks. I might go see it at that point because, like, it looks fun. But really, I'm super excited for this Mario movie. You guys know that. I can't wait for this Mario movie. I'm going to see it next week, and I can't wait. Big group of my friends are going. Super excited. And then I'm really excited for the Air movie. Ben Affleck directed and written with Matt Damon in it, along with Chris Tucker. Rush Hour. Let's go. So it's hype. I'm hyped for that Air movie. It looks great. And yeah, I'm just more interested in those right now because I don't think I have superhero movie fatigue. It's just like I'm not interested in seeing it unless I know it's going to be good. And that goes for any movie, right? Like, if I'm not, that's not true. Okay, that's a lie. I will see something knowing it's not going to be very good. It's just I don't have interest in Shazam 2. Like, it's not going to do anything for me. Like, I knew Black Adam was going to be very good, but I wanted to see it. So I just don't really have interest in seeing Shazam 2 at the moment. And I'm like, at some point I'll watch it on HBO. And there's just more movies that I think are more interesting right now. So right now I think we're in a really good spot. We're getting a lot of creative movies, and I like that. Like, I think we're starting with, like, I think this year the Oscars showed that, like, we're getting some better movies in, like, pop culture. Because, like, Everything Everywhere All at Once made pretty good money. RRR was popular. Top Gun 2 is great, and it was good. Like, I think we're starting to get more high-quality stuff. I'm not saying we've had bad quality over the last couple of years. I'm just saying, like, there's big box office hits that aren't Marvel movies. And I'm happy with that because I don't think Marvel's been putting out the best stuff lately. I think this stuff's been kind of crap. So I'm really glad that somebody else is taking the box office money and that the money's not still going to something that I think's just fine movies. Like, they're fine. Nothing special. I'm glad things like Top Gun 2, which are special, are making more money. I think I'm going to have to watch all the John Wick soon because John Wick 4 I've heard is great. And I watched John Wick 1 a couple years ago, and I really liked it. And then I watched John Wick 2, and she stabbed herself in the boobs, and I was like, this makes me uncomfortable. I don't like it when a scene's supposed to be sexy, and then all of a sudden it gets violent real quick. I'm like, oh, this is weird. So, anyone who's seen John Wick 2 knows what I'm talking about. That scene was kind of bothering me, and I was like, I was younger, and I was like, I don't want to finish this now. So then I stopped. All right, that's pretty much all I had to say. I think that's the end of the pod. So yeah, like I said, I'm super excited to see the Mario movie. I might do a whole podcast just reviewing it. We'll see, but that might just be thrown in with the NBA predictions because that'll be the next pod. Will probably be the NBA predictions podcast. I don't think at that point I'll have finished drawing of the three. On the music side, I found SZA. I'd never listened to SZA before, and I don't have TikToks. Like I didn't know that Kill Bill was like big on there. Never listened to SZA in my life. Found SOS, the album. Somebody was like, I was just randomly found it. I was like, oh, that's a cool album cover. And I started listening to some of her songs, and she absolutely bangs. I love SZA now. I bump her all the time, and I haven't even listened to Control yet. I've just been listening to SOS because I can't wait to listen to the Control album, but I'm almost waiting just for me to fully take in all the songs I want to on SOS. I have like 6 songs on my liked right now from SOS. It's legit 6 songs. It's like I think it's like a 14-song album. So I love SZA. She's my new favorite. Absolutely bangs. And I think, oh my gosh, it's so good. And then, gosh, if you're not listening to SZA, SOS album, oh my gosh, it absolutely slaps. You gotta listen to it. My girlfriend was laughing at me. She was like, she's like, this is so random that you just randomly started liking SZA. I'm like, but she's freaking great. I think that's all the topics. Oh, shoot. Oh, yeah. Lamar requested a trade? Like, oh my.